an enormous jackpot, and a screwdriver antenna. These are all the resources required, according to Stephen Breitweiser's research, to steal artworks worth $1.9 billion. How did he accomplish all of this with such basic tools? Let's get started with this amazing tale of the thief who took $1.9 billion right in front of the guard. The start of our story, Switzerland, was in March 1995, specifically in the community of Greer. Stephen Breitweiser, a Frenchman, is the story's main character. In order to explore an old medieval castle, Stephen came to this town with his girlfriend and Catherine. Greer Castle was the name of this castle. It is now a museum with a variety of Middle Ages artifacts and antiquities on display. There were hallways and sizable chambers with murals throughout this castle, meaning that these panels covered every inch of its hallways and walls. Hence, how did a man steal $1.9 billion paintings? What methods does this man employ to steal paintings? So, sit tight and stay tuned with us till the end of this video. However, before that, here's a quick reminder that you can subscribe for free and like the video so that we can boost the algorithm. Comments are most welcome. Stephen was cut when he and his fiancée passed by these rooms and corridors and noticed the lovely paintings. This picture was the creation of a German artist by the name of Christian Bale Hans Dietrich. The woman in the painting was depicted as wearing a frock and looking out the window. Our friend Stephen suddenly developed a strong desire to steal this picture, even though he had never before in his life stolen anything. The sudden feeling overcame his entire being because the painting is direct, as if she was looking to solve the painting. He suggested that I should own this painting. So he just told Catherine, his love, that he wanted to take the painting. Of course, everyone anticipates that Catherine would kill him and threaten to ruin their lives, put us in peril. But Catherine only responded, "Well, that's a great idea. Let's do it," to him. She followed him into the museum and started exploring the rooms and hallways. Unusually empty. Tourist traffic to the museum was quite low at the time, and security was exceedingly lax, weak. There were no security cameras, so the guards had to count their fingers. Therefore, while Catherine was keeping an eye on the hallways, Stephen started to remove a picture from its substantial frame. He carefully unpacked the artwork before folding it, and just led Catherine out of the castle after concealing it under the bulky jacket he was wearing. They just carried out a fast without any issues, yet this was the start of history's greatest art theft. Stephen had a tremendous want to stuff on the paintings. He'd always loved art and enjoyed looking at lovely paintings, but having one of them in his possession changed his perspective. Having a unique emotion that he wishes to have as he gets older and continues saying it. And Stephen started taking works of art. He visited 172 art galleries spread over 7 different European nations as he traveled from country to country and exhibition to exhibition. He also traveled throughout all of Europe, never was caught. This was the case due to Stephen's professionalism. What kind of intricate procedures was he preparing to always escape safely? His beloved Catherine joined him in all of these operations permanently, and they were all extremely straightforward, like the first one he performed. Stephen's role is to remove the screws holding the painting to the frame, and she is given the responsibility of keeping an eye on the hallways. Following his completion, he removes it, folds it, and tucks it beneath his roomy jacket. But is this level of security weakness reasonable? Simple target selection skills on the part of Stephen were the key. As museums and huge galleries seem to always be strongly secured, Stephen would have been readily apprehended if he had targeted them instead of the lightly guarded galleries. In museums, the screwdriver was the only instrument Stephen utilized in his activities. In order to divert the security cameras from the galleries, he first utilized an expandable antenna to detach the artworks from their frames. He was stealing, and the largest jacket he used to fold the paintings before hiding them inside was obviously the most crucial instrument he had, and his cool nerves, which allowed him to maintain composure. Any pressures that could develop throughout the procedure, he was able to steal from the scene, gallery, or museum more than once thanks to his incredible confidence. He just dons a beard or mustache to pass as another person and steals from the same location. According to estimates by the New York Times, the overall value of the paintings and artwork, his confidence was out of the usual. He made off with around $1.9 billion. Imagine the number with all of this. Stephen, on the other hand, didn't seem to be exhibiting any signs of money or opulence. He was leading an unexceptional life. Nevertheless, as they were departing, the museum's door opened. When one of the guards saw Stephen trying to tuck something beneath his jacket, the guard got a peculiar feeling that something odd was going on. So the guard went and took a quick tour around the museum and observed that there was a missed painting. Stephen and Catherine, who had left the U.S. and gotten into their automobile, were pursued by him as he ran. Because there was a police station nearby, the security guard halted the automobile before it could move, preventing Stephen from escaping. Stephen was imprisoned in the police station since there were so many police officers present that he had no choice but to submit to them without putting up any sort of fight. His Vista Trial was relatively modest and straightforward because the offense was not regarded as a serious one. The painting Stephen was stealing wasn't very valuable or significant, so Stephen entered court while acting upset and crying. He claimed that this was the only time in his life that he had ever done something similar, and that it had only been fleeting. Due to a strange impulse that possessed him in the painting, Stephen did not have a criminal record, and the representation of remorse and regret to the judge was very convincing. All these reasons made the judge convinced and released him without a heavy penalty. The judge's ruling was that Stephen remains under an 8-month sentence, and that he must leave Switzerland immediately, and he will not be able to enter it again until this period of supervision ends, which means after 8 months, the incident did not affect Stephen at all. And during the years that followed, he continued with the usual theft in various European countries, except for Switzerland, of course. 4 years later, in 2001, Stephen felt that the robbery attempt he was caught in had been forgotten, and the time had come for him to return to Switzerland again. He therefore took a flight to Switzerland with his sweeper Catherine, and from there they just traveled to the city where he was detained. Lawson 4 years ago. Yet Miss Museum is involved in the operation this time. Although it was a little trickier to take than the other items Stephen had his eye on, he was still able to get away with it under his overcoat and walked out of the museum without incident. Stephen had his eye on an ancient antique trumpet that was housed in a glass showcase. Very confident at times, Stephen may come off as haughty. Then he made the decision to return in disguise. Take a new work of art tonight. He led Catherine inside the room with assurance. I am the victim of the beating he was aiming for. And as Catherine started bringing her out, you started the removal process. After he had finished removing the painting, he hid it under his coat in the customary manner. Guards were surrounding him at all times, coming at him from all sides. One of these guards recognized Ian's face from the operation, which is what actually transpired. This security thought this individual was suspect because of what he had done 2 days prior. He informed his co-workers, who then moved to watch him. While he was stealing the painting from its location, I caught him in the act. After that, Stephen was arrested and detained at the police station while police. Stephen attempted to play the same game as action. The last time he played, he apologized for everything and said that his desire to steal was only temporary. This time, the defense was incredibly lame. After robbing the trumpet, he returned to take the board. This cannot possibly be only temporary. These robberies were all planned in advance. After looking, the investigators found Ting. When the judge feels sympathy for the case, the report about a prior theft in the same city, and the detectives, the Swiss police informed the French police of the situation and the fact that they were dealing with a serial burglar. Also, investigators secured a warrant to search Stephen's residence, which, as we previously stated, was situated in his mother's home's attic. And the cops went inside, and to everyone's amazement, there were no paintings in the apartment or any other signs of life. What exactly happened to cause this? How did all of the artwork vanish? What transpired then? When Catherine Stephen was arrested, his girlfriend called his mother right away to inform her that he had been taken into custody and to tell her that she needed to immediately hide all of the stolen artwork. Indeed, Did the mother dispose of every piece of art in the flat as quickly as she could? A few days later, she simply dropped it into the city's water canal after feeling unable to burn the remaining portion of it. As the authorities arrived and started to remove the paintings from the water canal, some individuals recognized that they were all stolen artwork from various museums throughout Europe, and some of these paintings were worth millions. Stephen was informed that the Swiss police were holding them once the word had spread, but Stephen, of course, was unaware of what had taken place. Stephen started to confess and started telling them everything, even the police. The investigators said that they had found a hidden treasure, and the investigators did not anticipate that one individual might be the one who stole all these paintings and artworks from various European countries. Stephen admitted everything from more than 170 galleries. Upon his admission, he was given a 3-year prison sentence, but he only served 2 of them. And it wasn't just Stephen who was detained. Catherine spent 6 months behind bars as well. His mother spent an additional 1.5 years behind bars. His beloved Catherine abandoned him after she was released from prison, and it was she who destroyed the paintings. She doesn't want to live with him any longer. And as for his mother, she never spoke to Stephen and had a miserable existence. After being released from prison, he had a long, miserable life and developed depression. Stephen attempted to write a book about his life, most of the time in an effort to make money to support himself. The book was titled Confessions of an Art Thief. Nonetheless, the book's sales were minimal and it was a commercial failure. Stephen then experienced the doors closing in his face. He made the decision to steal artwork once more, but this time he didn't do it for the love of the arts. Instead, he wanted to sell the paintings and make money. As we previously stated, the thieves who attempted to sell the stolen artwork are typically the ones who are apprehended. He was detained in 2011 as he attempted to sell one of the artworks that he had stolen. And after they searched the apartment, they found more than 30 stolen paintings. So he was arrested for the second time. Like last time, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison, and after he got out of prison, this time he remained under surveillance, and he was arrested for the third time in the year 2019 when he was caught trying to sell some antiquities on eBay. Things were most likely stolen before he was arrested. David, after his arrest, which took place in the year. Stephen did not show any news. However, Stephen Breitweiser immortalizes his name as the greatest art thief in history, and probably there is no one who will be competing. Peace title anytime soon. Here we come to the end of our story. Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. It will help us to understand our audience and allows YouTube to suggest similar videos to you. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you at the next one.